So hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me today for another Janome's Magical Machine Mystery Tour. My name is Michael Smith, the National Consumer Education Manager of Janome Canada, and yes, I'm back live for another Janome's Magical Machine Mystery Tour. Census Leia, perfect timing! So what will the machine be? Well, we're going to flip back around and get started, because again, the time always goes by so fast. So yes, let me get in here a little bit quicker. You know, it's so funny as I line up the, camera and to see photos, but then when I go live, the angle is very different. So now you see my beautiful Scarlett O'Hara in the window. So yeah, the machine that we're going to be talking about today for another Janome's Magical Machine Mystery Tour is Tanya's beautiful artwork, Magical Machine Mystery Tour. What will it be? Ta-da! Could you guess from our Instagram post today? It is the fabulous Janome CoverPro 900 CPX. Now, if you've followed for Janome HQ, more Magical Machine Mystery Tours, I've already demonstrated the Janome CPX 2000, and then I've also demonstrated the Janome CPX 1000. Let's see, I'm just moving a few things around. So those are two other CoverHem machines. We have the CoverPro 2000 CPX and the CoverPro 1000 CPX, and this is the CoverPro 900 CPX. Now, there's a couple of subtle differences in between all of those machines, but this CoverPro 900 CPX, I definitely wanted to include it, because it is a CoverHem machine. Would be like the entry-level version. The CPX 1000 and CPX 2000 each have 3 needles. The CoverPro 900 CPX has 2 needles. So you can still do the same cover hem stitching. You can still use the variety of like 1 needle and the looper to do the chain stitch. So there's a lot of things you can still do with this CoverPro 900 CPX that you can do with the CoverPro 1000 and CoverPro 2000. So, but again, this is maybe a little bit more user-friendly, or as far as like budget goes, this is a little bit more budget-friendly. So this would be a great, perfect beginner addition to your sewing room for your to finish your cover hems. So then, of course, the machine comes included with your instruction book, so make sure that you read all of that. And again, because Janome is always trying to think of everything, they've even included this cute little supplementary guide here about how to further adjust your machine as far as the presser foot pressure. There is a dial up here at the top of the machine. So full instructions in your manual, and here's a few more little tips and tricks. As well, full instructions about how to thread. And then there's, again, a couple of more tips and tricks here in this little guide, including like how you're going to set up your tensions, because we have the lay-in tensions here, very much like our serger. The cover hem machines are a lot like the serger, but it allows you to finish the hem specifically. And then, of course, there's a fun, several fun little decorative things you can do as well. But yeah, so this little guide here that comes included with the machine about how to adjust your looper and your needles, for example. So that is fabulous. So that's all included. It's also available in Spanish and French. So isn't that cool? Oh, and of course I'm having trouble on my iPad. So, oh geez, okay. Maybe I'll just forget about, I'm trying to watch it on my iPad. So right now I'm on my phone. So yes, sometimes I have such technical troubles. So included with your machine, again, very much like our sergers, in that we've got these thread nets. So when you are threading your machine here, you can see I've got these nice big Madeira Aerolock thread. I love the Madeira Aerolock thread. It's very low lint, very high quality, like serger thread that you can use on your cover hem machine, available from your Janome dealer. So when you're threading your big cones like this of your Madeira Aerolock, But sometimes if you're using, like on your coverhem machine, you can use like these beautiful Madeira metallic threads, particularly in the looper. So if you're using some smaller cones of thread or some smaller spools and you've got, some slippery threads, then you can put this thread net up and around it. So then that way, then the thread is going to come off the top of the spool. It's not going to collect around the bottom here. So the thread nets are included, so that's great. And then we've got, the little spool pins as well that would go on top of your little spools of thread, or, sometimes I put those spools of thread like that. I use this as a holder, and then I put my little spool of thread up here on the spool pin. So then it's not going to wrap around the top of the spool pin. So these are kind of double duty. So that's great. And then of course we've got our usual tools like, the big screwdriver, the little screwdriver to take out your needles, the tweezers that are definitely very important. This cute little needle threader, I've demoed this a couple of times on Janome HQ. Now yours is not going to have this little bit of red nail polish around it, but I like doing that with my tools since I know then it's mine. But this needle threader is really wonderful because now this is available in a separate blister pack. It comes included in the machine. But when you're going to thread your needle, there is a little wire that will come out. Really close. There we go. There's a little wire that comes out. So as you put your thread over in the grooves there and then put it up against your needle, that little wire will punch the thread through the eye of the needle. So it really helps, makes your threading of your needles really quick and easy. This side of the needle threader, for example, is great when you're inserting your needle. Then that holds the needle for you, so you can insert it in place that way. Or when you're taking one of these needles out, and if you were going to use just one needle and the looper to do a chain stitch, then you don't have to lose track of that needle. You can just keep it in this holder. So that makes it very convenient as well. So that holder, again, is included. The needle threader is included in your machine, but again, available in a separate blister pack. So that's really cool. Also included, of course, your little brush to clean out your looper area here. These cute little knobs, which will go into the bed of your machine here. There's two sets of holes here, and there's two sets of holes here. Now these little knobs that come included will go in here into the various attachments that are available, or they could go over here depending on the attachment. There's various attachments available for your CoverPro 900 CPX. So yes, you can finish your hems, but again, there's so much more, including there's a hem guide available for this machine. But then again, there's so much more you can do with your CPX machine. So always double check with your Janome dealer of what's available. Now, very important in with your CPX machines comes these little pack of needles. So on your machine itself, Janome is very wise. There is a little sticker that they're doing this pretty much with all the cover hems and the sergers now. It says to use only EL times 705 needles, and they're saying the size 80-12 or the 90-14. So it's already on your machine, so there's no doubt. Now there's full instructions in the manual, but it's nice having this little sticker up here where you see it. So when you need more needles, again, you already get a pack included, and you can see I've already been using mine because I use these cover hem machines so much. They're really so versatile. So this comes included with your machine, and you can see it's a Schmetz overlock serger needles and EL times 705. So those EL are very important. That's like an elongated, they have an elongated scarf at the back of the needle to allow for that looper thread to pick up your needle threads. So having those EL, think of like elongated scarves, are very important for the cover hem machine, specifically so you don't get any skip stitches. If you find you are getting skip stitches with your cover hem, well, maybe with your CoverPro machine, maybe you're not really using those EL needles. So make sure that you get those, again, widely available from your Janome dealer. So that is great. So here, when we tour our machine, again, it's very much like a serger. So over here to the side, I've got the differential feed dial. So as we're feeding our top and bottom layers together, if they're shifting at all, if the top layer is shifting from the bottom layer, we can adjust the differential feed to make sure that they're feeding at the same rate. And again, full instructions in your manual. And as well, we've written some blogs on the Janome Life blog about differential feed as well. So you can reference that. As well, I've also talked about differential feed on previous, again, Janome's Magical Machine Mystery Tour episodes when I talked about the CPX 1000 and the CPX 2000. Those presentations are on the IGTV icon of Janome HQ Instagram page or the Janome HQ YouTube channel. So you can go back and refer to those. As well, also on the Janome HQ YouTube channel or Instagram page, I did several serger presentations of like the AT2000D, for example. So you can go back to review those because I talked about differential feed in those episodes too. So the adjustments are the same for your serger and your CoverPro. So yes, stitch length dial, again, very much like your serger. As we go over here, again, you'll see our spool pins here. We have 3 cones. So we have a looper thread here. And again, that same, ooh, beautiful telescoping thread stand, just like our sergers. So this is our looper thread. Again, this in our serger, this would be our lower looper. It is the lower looper in the CoverPro machines as well. In fact, it's the only looper. There is no upper looper in your coverhem machine. So it's just the lower looper, and then we have a right needle and left needle. So that's very similar to your serger. Now, the coverhem machines, though, the CoverPro machines do not have a knife blade. So that's where they differ from a serger. They're not going to cover your, or they're not going to cut your fabric. So what specifically, what does a coverhem do? Well, look at the clothes you're wearing, look at your t-shirts, look at your leggings. Do you see maybe 2 rows of parallel stitching? And on the back side, you see like that serger stitch forming in between them. So this is what the coverhem machine does, is it does that 2 rows of stitching. In this case, because the CoverPro 900, again, has the 2 lines of stitching. The CPX 1000 and CPX 2000, again, have 3 needles. So they'd actually have a middle needle in here, which you can keep in or you can remove. But in the CPX 900 here, we've got 2 parallel lines of stitching. And then on the back side, we have the serger-like stitch there. So the wonderful thing, all that built-in stretch. Now we can use any kind of fabric, again, woven fabrics as well as knits. They're perfect for knits, but again, woven fabrics, no problem as well. So that's what your coverhem machine will do. Now, many times people ask me, well, you know, oh, could I use this like on my regular machine? Could I do the same kind of finish? So yes, you could use a twin needle on your regular domestic sewing machine, and then on the back side, so that will give you 2 lines of parallel stitching on your front, but then on the back side, it'll be like a little zigzag stitch in between the 2. So the coverhem machine just is a little faster and easier to use than having those twin needles. Again, it's always like it's a dedicated machine already set up, ready to do your hemming. I think of like the regular oven as your sewing machine. Your serger would be your microwave, you know, faster and easier. And the coverhem machine is a perfect addition to your sewing room. It would be like your toaster oven is in your kitchen. Again, it's a dedicated piece of machinery already set up, ready to go. It makes your results so much faster and easier with more professional results. Now, here's a t-shirt that I did, and you decide, do you want that kind of serger looking stitch back and forth? Do you want that on the right side, or do you want to, typically it's on the wrong side? If you would like that, again, serger stitch look, then what I did is I finished the edge of this t-shirt on the serger first. Then when I stitched my hem, I had this backwards. So the right side was down along the bed of the machine. The needles were, again, up here that are actually the inside of the t-shirt. So you decide, which way that you would like to do it. Okay, so, oh, I'm having some technical issues here. Okay, so with our cover hem, again, here is on our t-shirt, very beautiful. There is our little stitch there. And then again, here we go. So this is 5mm wide stitching with that, again, kind of serger looking stitch on the back. So it's all finished in one step. I have 2 parallel rows of stitching on the right side, and on the back side, it's completely covered my hem. And I've got, again, that built-in stretch for the knits. So that's great. So you can do all your hemming in one step. Now, again, I mentioned, that's knits, but here, this is a woven fabric. So let me just get my foot pedal here. Ooh. Yes, let me get my foot pedal here. And away we go. Now, the fun thing is there are little notches on the edge of our foot, which I realize will be hard for you to see close up. So let's see if I can, I'm on my phone this time as opposed to the iPad. So I'll see if I can get in here. Ooh, there. So here, there are little notches here on the edge of the foot. So this is my left needle and this is my right needle. So I can tell where my lines of stitching are because of those little notches there on my foot. So that's very easy to navigate. And then, now it's recommended in our instruction manual to have this little leader cloth. Some people call it a spider or bunny ears, just because of the action of the cover hem stitch. It's nice to then stitch off onto this little leader, so then the stitches form more quickly on your fabric. So here's my beautiful stitch on the back. Now, ideally, you would be covering this raw edge, but it's okay if you don't, actually. Many times, depending on the fabric, many times I do this stitching away from this raw edge, and then I take my beautiful mini duckling scissors that have that duck bill on the back side, so I'm not going to trim into my fabric on the underside. So then I use these to trim very close to that stitching. So I do this on wovens as well as knit fabric. So it's really good that way. So again, I can trim it off more easily as well, closer to the edge of my fabric. So it's entirely up to you what you choose to do. On that edge, I again trimmed it off, whereas this one I completely covered it based on where you position your fabric. And you've got those little reference guides on your foot, so that makes it easy. Now, when I'm going to, yes, I'll use this simple. So when I'm going to be feeding here, I love using these clips, so we don't have to worry about anything getting in the way. Everything is all nice and accurate. I really like using the clips instead of pins, but it's entirely up to you. The nice thing, again, we don't have a knife blade to worry about, so at least that's good. So I like using the clips to hold things in place. Or, you know, if you're going to be pinning, I like to put the pins this way, just as a little tip. So then that way, if you are using a serger, you know, you wouldn't want to use them that way, because then you can easily accidentally run over that pin. So I got into the habit of pinning this way. So it does make it a little easier with the pins out here, so you don't have to worry about running them over so much. Great if you can also keep them away from your needles, and then, because you certainly don't want to stitch over them there, and then you don't even have to remove them as you're stitching. So that's great. And then again, I just take my little leader here and then remove my clips. So how great is that? And again, you decide, do you want to stitch right off the edge of the fabric? Or again, do you want to stitch? Now, I could just leave this as is because it's a knit and it's not going to ravel. But again, then you go in with your little beautiful applique scissors and you trim that off. So then it's all nice and neat and beautiful. So that is great. So it's entirely up to you. And again, you can see I've been doing, t-shirts, but again, you can do woven fabric. Now, the cool thing about our CoverHem machine, let me just remove this and pull this off and cut these threads. So I can open up the machine. So when we look inside, again, it looks very much like a serger, but a little less intimidating because it's really quite simple to thread. Again, full instructions in your manual. I love having this looper release. Isn't that wonderful? So this is your only looper, your lower looper, but it's got this wonderful quick release so we can easily thread it and then snap that back into place. So isn't that cool? There is a diagram under here, again, that shows us about the different types of stitching that we can do. So that's very helpful. Now this knob here that we have on all of our CoverPro machines, this is for the pre-tensioner of the lower looper. Now I can adjust my tensions up here. And again, there's some suggestions in the manual on how you adjust those for whatever kind of fabric you're using and thread, much like the serger, just the dials to tighten it up or loosen it. But this is a pre-tensioner to your lower looper here. So then I can tighten that up if I need to, particularly using going over some thicknesses like the side seams, for example. Sometimes we need to tighten up that lower looper to prevent, again, like a skip stitch. So full instructions again in the manual. So that's a nice thing to have. There's a little cheat sheet here as well to give you some suggestions on how you will adjust your tension based on what you are sewing. So that is great. Even snap that up into place. Now also, who doesn't love a free arm? So yes, your CPX 900 has a free arm. So great when you're doing some hemming here. This could be if you're, again, sewing a sleeve or around like a finished hem. I've already started to do some sewing. I'm going to try to, it's always a little difficult having a camera right in front of you, trying to do some sewing. As I explained last week in Janome's Magical Machine Mystery Tour last week, the camera I try to put dead on, but I'm kind of off to the side, so that's why my stitching doesn't always end up as beautiful as it could on camera live. And I used to watch Nancy Zeman from Sewing with Nancy. Perhaps all of you did too. I loved her. She was wonderful. She always said, yes, she does her worst sewing on TV because she's off to the side and, the camera is in front because we want you to see what's going on. So as I'm doing, you can see I've already started my 2 rows here, beautiful stitching, again 5mm wide. The bed of our machine is about 5.5 inches by 4 inches tall. A nice big bed here is 9 inches deep, so lots of room for our projects. Now as we get up close to our previous row of stitching, again I've got those 2 notches on my foot to help me line up those lines of stitching. Now once I just cross over them like a stitch or 2, and again you're going to be right in front of your machine, so it's going to be easier for you to see. So once I get up close to those stitching that I see, yep, I've crossed my previous line of stitching, I raise my balance wheel or the flywheel so my needles are up to the highest position, raise my foot. Now you take your stiletto or again your tweezers, pull them under your foot like that. Again, full instructions in the manual. So trim my threads and then pull it off in one fell swoop. So then that, oh, look at that. That's pretty good match considering I'm off to the side and can't really see what I'm doing. So there we go. That's how you line up your lines of stitching there. And then, yes, I've pulled off. There's my loose threads. They just arbitrarily, like they just pull to the back. It's beautiful. So then you can go in, thread up a needle if you wish, or you could just even just knot those by hand. And then that way they're, put a little dot of freight check there and they're never going to ravel. So there is your hem. Now, if you happen to have these little wispies here, which I didn't quite cover, because again, this is woven fabric, so there may be some little wispies there. Great, trim those off. If this were knit fabric, there wouldn't be that at all, but it's like that. It's a beautiful hem. So really simple, easy to do. Again, great with that free arm. Now, if you would like more room, though, available as an optional accessory, yes, this CoverPro bonus pack. There is this beautiful extension table. There is a clear view foot, which I will show you in a minute, and an elastic guide. So yes, you can use your coverhem machine not only to finish your hems, but also you can attach elastic. You can attach lace. There's so much versatility you can do. Now, by having this little free arm, open like that, then I slide in this beautiful extension table. Now, it has fully adjustable legs as well, so I need to adjust for my legs, but it will slide into place. So that is cool. So you've got this beautiful extension table there. I just need to, there we go, move my legs so they are, again, fully adjustable. So isn't that beautiful? So you've got a nice big surface here. Now there's the elastic attachment, which again would go into these holes here. Full instructions on the back of the blister pack. And again, this is when you would use those little knobs that come included to attach that elastic attachment. Now, also included with this bonus CoverPro pack is this clear view foot. Now it says on the blister pack for 3 needle. So that would be for your CPX 1000 and CPX 2000. But this foot will fit your CPX 900. But you'll see in this foot, but it's clear. Will you see? You see that it's got 3 little indicators here. So in your CPX 900, those little notches, then there's one for the left needle and one for the right needle. But this foot has a middle notch, which is for the middle needle of that CPX 1000 or 2000. But this foot will clip on to the CPX 900, and it's great, again, because it's clear. So then you'll be able to see where you're lining up your rows of stitching. But again, this foot is also available in the separate blister pack that it would specifically say for 2 needles for your 2 needle machine. Now, also available for 2 needle machines, yes, would be like, look at this beautiful tape binder. So again, it is available for the 2 needle machines. So the CPX 900. So this would, let me bring it over here. You see all my paraphernalia there. So then again, that you need the tape binder would attach to the bed of your machine. It's much like our quilt binder for the domestic machines. And it allows you to put that tape. Again, you wouldn't bind a quilt with this, but you could put it, again, around, if you wanted to finish the edge instead of hemming, you could add like this tape, and it still is stretchy. It's not really bias tape because it's all still knit. So you still have that stretch. And again, that 2 needle, which are 5 millimeters apart. So again, how perfect is that? So for your CPX 900, you need to make sure that you have the 2 needle tape binder attachment. So again, double check with your Janome dealer to make sure that it's the 2 needle tape binder, but there's again lots of accessories available for your fabulous Janome CoverPro 900. So that is a big whirlwind on your fabulous machine. And again, I mentioned that Madeira Arrow lock thread, but here are some more choices that we have. The pack of, just a moment, that we have the pack of serger thread here, also available from your Janome dealer. So that is an option, as well as the Madeira Arrow lock. Or look at that. This is Madeira Arrow flock, and look at all those gorgeous colors. So yes, the cool thing about the Arrow flock thread is, it's textured. So you can see there that it's a little more textured, it's a little more fuzzy. You might have heard the term woolly nylon, but that is polyester, so it's a little bit more fuzzy. So then you've got a little bit better texture and a little bit better coverage of your thread. So that, in a nutshell, is your fabulous Janome CoverPro 900 CPX machine. Again, make sure that you double check from your Janome dealer. I just want to remove all of that so you can see the machine, again, exactly how it comes in the box. The nice thing too, it already comes threaded with some white thread, so then you're ready to start stitching as soon as you open the box. So how cool is that? So thank you everyone for joining me. I hope you all have a fabulous day, and I look forward to seeing you again for another Janome's Magical Machine Mystery Tour. Thanks so much for joining me today. Bye.